No, I'm not gonna hate you. I'm not
Okay,
even
thank you.
fully flat back here.
That's what she said. Hey there, fellow horror hounds. That's Britt.
And that's Tiff.
And I'm Kimberly.
And this is Quick Car Cuts, where we see a movie in the theater.
And then talk about it in the car right afterwards.
Hence the car. And today, Kimberly's joining us.
Woo! And we saw
Terrifier 3.
Okay, so as a quick background, Kimberly's one of the friends who will normally come see stuff with us. We normally have a group of people who will go see things with us, and then we talk about it, just the two of us.
Nobody would come see it with us.
No, this was not a popular choice.
This was not a popular choice. In fact, I came into the group chat and I said, look, from a journalistic perspective, I want to see Terrifier 3 in the theaters. Who will go with me? And it was like, you have my axe. Like, no one wanted to do it, but these two stepped up, so I'm grateful for that.
Because I have to review every horror movie, not just the ones I like.
I have had a very Terrifier-themed last couple of days. In the past 2 days, I've watched 8 hours of Art the Clown because I had to marathon every Terrifier and All Hallows Eve and all this stuff to catch up before today's movie.
So I've seen the movies prior to this. I did not marathon it like you did. I don't think I could handle that.
That's for the best.
And previously was not a fan. And as you can tell, none of us in the car were fans previous to this. And I don't know if we necessarily changed that. I do think that my initial thoughts on this movie is that I'm open. Like I was telling Kimberly in the lobby, I'm like, I could maybe be open to being excited about a Terrifier movie by Terrifier 6 if they keep going at this rate. Because they had some improvements on stuff that I had issues with in previous movies, so...
Yeah, the issues that I had, the things that upset me the most over the last 3 movies were all rectified in this movie.
Really?
They were.
All of them?
They were.
Okay.
So it's not for me as like a go-to thing. Like, it's still very much so. It's torture porn. That's not usually my bag. At the same time, I think I'd be open to seeing the next one, like, when it's streaming.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I love gore. I love the Saw series. It's one of my favorites. Saw X was a great experience in theaters for me. This was not it for me. There were a lot of cameos in this movie.
Yeah.
And we'll get into that in spoilers. I thought it was interesting that they brought back, this goes to show how much I'm not a fan of the series, that I am usually the one who remembers everybody's name. I can't remember anybody's name. The girl from the first movie.
Vicky,
yeah.
Vicky was in the last movie too.
She was.
Kind of at the end, yeah.
At the end, they brought back Vicky as a kind of a main character, which I thought was an interesting take on it. So it wasn't just art, it was art with somebody. And Vicky at this point made more sense than like the pale girl from Terrifier 2. So I'll say
easily.
That was an improvement for me for sure.
Yeah. I'm going to start with positives. I think Lauren Lavera is
She's
a highlight.
fantastic.
She's wonderful.
She is great.
And so is David Howard Thornton. I don't think his character is my favorite, but I don't think everyone can do what he does with a character that makes zero sound. So I think he does a really great job with that.
He does really well with what he's given.
Yes, I think he's literally the thing, other than the shock of the last couple movies, that has made Terrifier what it is.
Oh, yeah,
basically, no
very
one would
much.
know if it wasn't for him.
The people who are fans of the franchise love Art the Clown, and that's all because of his performance.
Literally, yeah. It's a fantastic effects reel of a movie. I clocked the name in my head when I saw it on the credits. Tinsy, the production studio that did all of these effects, was
Excellent.
stellar. It's a wonderful effects show. Everything you could imagine a human body doing.
See,
It
to
did
me, it didn't do it for me. I didn't like the effects.
What didn't you like about
I shouldn't
them?
say I didn't like the effects. To me, it wasn't very realistic enough. But again, it's a Terrifier movie. They're not realistic. Like the first one, the no bones
yeah, no
kind
bones.
of thing. So I guess to me, it was just kind of, I'm like, eh.
Speaking as someone who has watched every Terrifier movie
But
in the
they
past
were
couple
so
of
much
days,
better.
I'm saying that the effects on this one were the best that the series has shown out the
totally.
entire time.
Definitely.
And so with this, as much as it might not compare to, you being a fan of those really, really gritty, realistic Saw effects, for what this is doing, I think these are the best effects that the franchise has turned out.
I do agree with that this is the best that the franchise has done so far for effects.
I'm gonna take a moment to say, like, is this a bad time to mention that I've seen some shit on the internet and that looks like what I've seen on the internet? This is
I
me
believe
telling
it.
you
I think
things.
it looks.
It-
I've seen some things.
I guess to me it was more like the sound effects and like the amount
sound
Foley.
effects.
Let's talk about the Foley
and
for the cut.
the sound effects and the amount of blood and like certain things weren't in the correct areas. Because, again,
I
coming
agree with
from the
that.
medical field, I'm like, that's not supposed to be there.
Oh yeah, that Foley was jacked all the way
The
up.
Foley
I could
from the
hear
first
every
sound.
seed popping out of the watermelon they chopped up.
It's the
It's so
wettest
over the
movie
top.
that I've seen maybe ever. It's so squishy.
And crunchy. Like when
Oh boy.
like there's a scene of violence early in the movie. That's not a spoiler, you know this. And I was like, that would not be that loud.
No,
It's louder than it would be if it was your own body being chopped up. Like, it is insane.
like early on in the movie, I was like, I feel like I'm in the body that's being chopped up.
My ear is an axe now.
If only the chairs vibrated with it. So I think that would have been a little bit more 4G than we were
Right.
ready for.
Oh,
boy.
Lord.
The other thing I have to say, when we are at conventions, a lot of people cosplay as Art the Clown. A lot of people cosplay as like the Pale Girl. A lot of children cosplay from this movie.
Oh my god.
And watching this movie, there was a 7-year-old child sitting behind us who was silent the entire movie, mind you, but that was not an appropriate place. I am not a parent, I am an aunt, but still, from what I saw, never in my life would I take a 7-year-old child to the theater. I get people watching it at home with their parents, they can talk over it. Do not bring your 7-year-old child to this movie in a theater, please.
No.
I don't think that that's a bold take.
No.
I feel like saying don't take your kid to Terrifier,
That's a tepid
that's
take.
like the bare minimum.
That's like a room temperature take.
That's like saying, do we swear on this?
We
channel?
Oh,
swear.
yes.
That's like saying don't fuck in front of your kid. Like, it's the bare minimum. Like, okay, yeah, don't watch someone get chopped up, or watch someone fuck in front of your kid.
And
Like,
there was fucking in
there
this
was
movie.
fucking.
There was fucking. I grew up watching horror movies with my dad at home, where he could sit with me and give me the context. Like, oh, this is make believe. This is this and that. But like in a theater, I almost turned around and was like, "Excuse me, what are you
Get your
doing?
kid out of here.
Can I help you?
Excuse me, Transformers is down the hall."
Any other thoughts before we get into spoilers?
My last few spoiler-free thoughts are, well, it is overly long, in my opinion.
They all are.
Was bored at the end. When you have 2 hours of the most grotesque, shocking effects, they're just boring at the end. But I can save the rest of those thoughts for spoilers.
I do have one other non-spoiler. The pacing of this movie was so back and forth of this. Like, it was gritty, intense. We're gonna be super violent. We're not gonna actually show, like, it's super fast, and then all of a sudden, boom, we're in a really quiet room, and we're quiet, and we're talking, and and then we go right back, and it's the constant shifting of tone really took me out of it.
That's unfortunately something that I felt throughout the series. I think that the pacing of this movie was significantly better
Yes.
than the other movies.
It's
I found
getting
myself
better.
bored less of the time, which is good. I feel like they got their lore straight.
Yes.
And they've really struggled with that throughout the franchise, and this sets them up to do more. I know that Damien Leone isn't necessarily interested in doing 6 Terrifiers. I was reading an interview. He's
I'm
like,
okay with
he was
that.
like, maybe
I
one
think
more,
we're all
and then
okay.
he's like, I don't want to overstay my welcome. That's a good call.
Yeah.
But I think that they've set themselves up that if he changed his mind, this is the kind of lore that can actually sustain.
Terrifier 2 really upset me by things not making sense. I'm very much illogical. I need things to make sense, and Terrifier 2 pissed me off so badly. So the fact that more lore and like explaining of things came into this one, I will say was a highlight.
Yeah. All right, so spoiler talk. If you want to skip spoilers and just go straight to our final thoughts, make sure you go to this time code. But this is your final warning. 3, 2, 1. Spoiler.
Can you really spoil a Terrifier movie?
That's a good point.
That's a good point. But the reason I brought it up, the thing I wanted to talk about is Tom Savini has a cameo in this movie. And I feel angry about it because Tom Savini's work is so amazing. And then I'm like, and you're in a Terrifier movie?
It's an effects reel, and
It
his
is.
work is known for its effects, though. You know what
Yeah,
I
that
mean?
is
Like,
true.
there seems to be a little bit of a tip of the hat in him being in this movie.
I think that's exactly it.
But I mean, if Tom Savini was in it, could it have been a little better?
Tom Savini might say that about some of his own work.
That's very true.
Yeah,
You know,
I'm like,
honestly,
who do you think you're talking about?
You put me in my place. You put me in my place. I'm good with that.
Listen, with all respect to him,
With all respect,
even
love
kings stumble sometimes.
Right.
Yep. No,
Someone needs to tell the
you're
emperor
right.
he's naked.
You're right. The other thing is, I really did not like how it turned into a demonic possession movie because
That's a personal thing.
that's
of
a
yours.
personal thing that I am not comfortable with. I don't do well with demonic possession movies, and when we started hitting that, I was like, no, and it got, like
It went all the way.
it went all
Yeah.
the way, which is fine, but it wasn't something that I was prepared for going into it.
Yeah.
Like, I can handle certain things as long as I know what's coming ahead of time. And they did a good job of not spoiling that part beforehand. And that really took me, and I was not a fan of that. I was not a fan of that personally, just because it's not my thing.
Here's, like, my thoughts in a nutshell about the movie is that if you're already a Terrifier fan, you're gonna like it. You're gonna continue to like this because it's the same stuff. It's art being art, and the violence is violent. And if you're new to the Terrifier franchise, I don't think I'd necessarily say that you should see it, because this definitely, and Terrifier isn't for everyone, and especially not for everyone in the horror field. But it's also not as bad as I was expecting it to be. A lot of the, I love equal opportunity body abuse.
Yes.
Because it's a thing, like, we're all women, we get it. When you just get so used to seeing bodies that look like yours brutalized on screen all this time, and it's like, okay, that felt a little much, that felt pointed, you know? But this time, getting a dude
Equal opportunity crotch chop.
straight up the crotch top.
Which is exactly what happened in Terrifier 1. It's angled differently, but it is the same slice, and then he ends up getting hung, you know, so he's still pinned to a wall. You have that same image, but with a man. That is our most nude moment in the whole movie. As someone who
Did we even see breasts in this movie?
we
No?
got like a very faint flash, but it was a chest plate because it was instantly as they're cutting into her chest.
That's
Yes.
very
It
true.
was sawed at the chest. For me, I love wild, batshit, over the top effects.
Yes.
You give me your goriest, craziest movie and you go, this is insane. How is this even happening? That's what I thrive on. That's one of my absolute favorite things. When we see movies together, I'm like, that grossest scene, that was my favorite part. And so that's not the thing that I've disliked about the franchise. It's been the rampant, violent misogyny throughout the last 3 movies that's been infuriating.
Yeah.
And to see them flip the scripts like that, put a man and in his most nude state through that similar act of violence that we had in the first one, and then to have Lauren Lavera dressed very normally through her entire battle, like, it was, this movie isn't violently misogynistic. This movie's just brutal.
Yeah.
Yep. It's enough to make me, because again, coming into this one, I'm like, okay, the first one, we're getting our legs and we're leaning on old tropes, and that's kind of weird, right? That seemed a little pointed. And then number 2, I'm like, okay, we're learning a little bit more, we're a little overly long, but that seems like a weird choice to me. And then number 3 was gonna be like, if I see it again, it's a trait, it's built in, it's a feature. And I'm like, number 3 is your chance to kind of turn around and show me that this isn't a feature of your franchise.
Right.
It's just something that happened, which still doesn't leave a good taste in my mouth from the first 2.
No, it was a feature, because it was also in All Hallows Eve, in perhaps the most egregious of the 3, in my opinion.
Which is the only one I've not...
It's been a while since I've seen that one, so it's still fresh on your head. So.
For graphic detail on what it is, it's a woman's body, her breasts have been surgically removed, her arms and legs have been cut off, and the words, slut, cunt, bitch
Yeah, no, that's not okay.
So
I forgot about that.
That's the most egregious woman hatred you could probably put on screen. And so to have it happen 3 movies in a row, I don't think Damien Leone liked women. I can't say that confidently, but after seeing this, I'm like, maybe he met one. Good.
Maybe,
good for him.
Maybe he talked to one.
Crazy.
Oh my goodness. I will say, so the one thing I did appreciate about this movie is it's not it's like the least sexualized out of all of them, and there's a sex scene in it, but any type of nudity in this movie made sense. Because, at least to me, because in the first one, she is topless when he's cutting her. He took her clothes off. She was clothed. And then we talked about this earlier.
Yep.
She was clothed. In the second one, again, she was clothed and he had to have removed her clothes. This one, they were just already having sex, so that's why they're nude. It's not nudity for the sake of shock value or just to be nudity.
And that's classic horror. I'm not against people dying when they're naked and having sex.
Exactly.
That's a horror trope that I'm okay with.
Yeah.
It's more about, why are we just doing it to do it? This is, they were already doing it, and then Art just showed up.
Yeah.
Which made really good sense for the movie, and I think showed growth in their storytelling.
Yes, I agree. And again, like Kimberly was saying, we love this stuff. Like, you and I just giggled and screamed over some of the stuff we've seen in theaters. Like, oh my god, that was amazing. Like, I'm thinking particularly of that woman who had to chop her leg off in Saw 10.
Yes.
Like, that was fantastic.
So good.
But there's just something that you can tell when something gives you the ick.
In this movie.
Where you're like, that felt like it is something deep down ingrained in you because you've been raised in this society, for so long, that makes you go, So I really like it if people can examine biases and why we do some of the things that we do. I think it makes us a healthier society overall, and I'm like, yay! We killed a man the same way we killed a woman.
We saw testicle and peen.
We did.
Yay! We got there.
But somehow, see, this is again the thing that bothers me. He got up the stomach, but the stomach was still intact. It was just pushed to the side. I get too into this.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, my biggest thing is that it's just too overly long. There's something to be said about keeping something for the imagination, because if I always see balls to the wall, like I see every bit of flesh that was ripped out, it makes it less impactful after a while. And there are some really good kills that I liked.
Man.
Like, I really liked when he ripped the demo guy's head open. I thought that was sick. That was cool.
Yeah.
I didn't like what else was going on during it. But I loved when he ripped the head open. I was like, ooh, that was impactful.
Yeah, I was
cool.
waiting for you to comment on that.
I forgot. I blocked it out because
I forgot about our Linda Blair moment.
I did not like that at all. I know, and I just said that it wasn't as sexual, and it's because I literally blocked this out because it upset me so badly that, oh my god, I did not like. I can't articulate. I'm so upset. It gave me the ick. I appreciated that they brought this character back, that they turned it into something, which is like this demonic possession. That's why she's acting like this. It's not her anymore. It's the demon inside her. But I did not need glass masturbation and just blood that was...
And
no.
art's never been sexual.
No.
So why do we need the demon proxy to be sexual?
It just didn't add to the scene.
No.
It didn't. Well, again, hence, I blocked it out. So I was like, yeah, this movie was fine. And then the second they reminded me about it, I'm like, oh, fucking A. That's right. God damn it.
I think it's a movie that doesn't miss an opportunity to push it one step further than it needs to.
Mm-hmm.
That said, I think because of how much I hated where it was coming from and the stark jump in quality in the areas that I was most upset about, I didn't hate this.
Yeah.
I didn't love it because I want more plot than really prolonged torture sequences.
Yeah.
But that's one of the other things, and it's such a stupid thing to pick on because everyone loves to celebrate just how graphic the Terrifier franchise is. But in all the other movies, as gross as those kills are, they rush them. They zip through them. And these ones, you really sat with it. And he took his time. And so if you're wanting to enjoy the effects reel and sit in that feeling, you get to a little bit more. I feel like the jump in quality has me much more won over than I expected to be.
Yes.
I won't dare say like, oh, I'm a Terrifier fan. Absolutely not.
No.
But this movie was okay for me.
Yeah.
I feel pretty decent about what I just watched.
Speaking of jump, I was upset by the amount of jump scares they put in this movie.
Yeah.
Because mind you, I can't handle jump scares very well because of like heart condition and
It's
stuff
a medical
like that.
thing. It's
medical
not
thing.
a tolerance thing. Yeah.
But they've never had really jump scares in this before, and then they relied so heavily on them in this movie.
I feel like the other movies attempted to have jump scares, but their ability to build tension was weaker, so they didn't work.
That's true.
As opposed to now, I feel like they figured it out, and perhaps a combination of money and skills are involved to deliver a better effect. But I feel like I liked the jumps that we had. I felt like they used them strategically. I know that jumps aren't for you, and so going in expecting a movie that doesn't have jumps and then getting a movie that has some is a big change.
Yeah.
But for me, I felt like they were used effectively and used in places that served the plot.
Yeah.
I do want to say one other thing I will appreciate and say as a positive of this movie is I'm happy that they changed the setting from Halloween, because all the other movies are like Halloween, and they were trying to do something different with this, and I got real sick of Christmas music after like the second one, because oh boy, do they hound that it's Christmas.
That place was, they were all so lit up. There were so many fucking Christmas lights.
Yeah.
Like, no wonder the little girl at the beginning couldn't sleep, because she had every fucking
They had her bedside lamp on, and Mom was like, why won't you go to sleep? I'm like, because you left all the lights on, bitch. What are you doing?
My other thought is that her aunt and uncle have way too many fucking Tiffany stained glass lamps in their house. That couple needs therapy.
The money that they must have, especially knowing that her family was not wealthy. It was just, I don't know, classic.
There's stuff in this movie that's won me over, but at the same token, I appreciate stuff that the movies have done for the genre. So they've thrust a new killer into the pantheon, whether or not he's there forever is remain to be seen, and birthed some of the most insufferable cosplayers I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And
they'll be there forever.
Oh, they'll be there forever. And we have an effects, like the jump in effects is amazing. Like, we have this kind of violent horror movie in theaters is really great to see. However, I don't think I need to mollycoddle the series just because it's an indie thing, just because it's doing stuff on its own. Like, I can commend you for those things and then still expect you to do better each time you have another bite at the apple. And I am pleased to see that things are getting better. However, it's not enough to get me on the train. So that's just where I'm at.
Ratings time. I will say this was probably the best movie in the franchise. It is not for me. I did not enjoy this. But because it is an improvement from the other ones, I am going to give it 1 out of 5 Santa hats.
Thank you for being kind to me this time. Yeah, this is middle of the road for me. I think it's an improvement from previous entries, but I don't think I'm gonna go back and watch it again. It's a solid 2.5 Santa hats out of 5 for me.
I think that this is striking more chords with me than you guys. It's still not incredible, but I liked it a lot more than what I've seen. I think it's a 3.5 Santa hat for me.
Wow.
Cool.
Especially coming from knowing your opinion after the first two, that's
I literally
improvement
have
for you.
been being harassed on TikTok by dude bros who love Terrifier.
They've been coming after
They
you.
have, just because I said that they hate women. But they do.
They do!
This one
Kiddo.
hates women less.
Right.
Oh boy. I'm also just gonna put out the fact that I am so upset that I had to watch a Christmas movie before Halloween.
To be fair, I don't feel very holly and jolly after seeing it, so I'm not gonna count it.
Okay.
No tall glass of eggnog to top off this evening.
I hate eggnog.
What about through a really big tube? Do you think that would...
Oh my god!
Not the tube.
Fucking A. On that note, this was Quick Car Cuts. Please let us know in the comments what you thought of the movie.
Quick, Kimberly, shout yourself out.
Yes, I talk about horror an awful lot on TikTok. My username is KLName. Don't ask why, it's stupid, but go find me and enjoy my videos.
Go find Kimberly and give her some love, and if you don't agree with her, just keep scrolling. Yeah, let us know what you're looking forward to seeing. Again, lots of cool trailers that we saw. I'm very excited for everything coming. Like, it seems like every month we're gonna have something cool to go see.
Good.
So I'm really excited about that. But in the meantime,
That's Britt,
that's Tiff.
I'm Kimberly.
and this has been Quick Car Cuts.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.